Hi, welcome back to Mr. Slover's Math. Today we're going to talk about multiplying monomials. So here's just a warm-up. So notice in between these two sets of parentheses, we are subtracting. We know that because it says subtract and there's a subtraction sign. So subtracting means we're going to distribute a -1 to the second set of parentheses. So the first set stays the same. The second one is now -1 times 3x to the fifth is -3x to the fifth. -1 times 6x cubed is -6x cubed. And -1 times -7 is +7. From there, you just collect like terms and write your answer in standard form. Now, the reason I emphasize that this was subtraction is if we look down here, we have two sets of parentheses, but now if you take a glance at all of these, none of them have an operation printed between them. Well, if I have two sets of parentheses and there's no operation printed between them, it's assumed that is multiplication. We also know that because I tell you to find the product of each. So we multiply. So I gave you two steps. Add the powers if they're the same base, the same letter, and multiply your coefficients. So 3x times 6x. We're going to do 3 times 6 are our coefficients to get the 18. And then x times x, we add our powers. That's what I showed in green. I did 1 plus 1, and that's how we got 2. So 3x times 6x becomes 18x squared. Letter B, my coefficient is -1 and 4. So -1 times 4 is -4. And then x times x is going to give us x squared. So when I multiply, I get -4x squared. Letter C, multiply your coefficients. 4 times 7 is 28. X squared and x cubed. So 2 plus 3 is going to give me the 5. Okay, letter D is very similar. Letter E, now I'm adding in another variable, but I'm not changing what I'm doing. I'm multiplying my coefficients. -5 times -2 is 10. Now this time I have to make sure that I only add the powers that have the same base, aka they're the same letter. X to the fifth and x cubed, those are the same letter. So I do 5 plus 3 to give me the x to the eighth. And then the y is just there. It doesn't have anything else to combine with. Okay, I can see something similar on letter G. My coefficient of the first set of parentheses is just a 1, and then times 3 is 3. I have an x to the sixth and an x. Remember, there's a 1 there, so I put a 1, even though it's not printed. I did 6 plus 1 to get x to the seventh, and then the y to the fourth is just there because it doesn't have any other y's. So after I multiply, I get 3x to the seventh, y to the fourth. So those are multiplying monomial times monomial. So now we're going to do this, and this should look familiar because this is distribution. You've seen this before. You've seen example A and B before. You may not remember C through the end. Okay? So the first part we're multiplying, we're distributing, similar to what we did yesterday with distributing the -1 when we subtracted. Now there might be a variable that we have to distribute. So 5 times x is the first term. 5 times 4 is going to give us the second one. So 5x plus 20. And that's it. 5x and 20 are not like terms. That's why they are staying separate. Distribute a -3. So -3 times x, -3x. -3 times -6, +18. And my answer is in standard form. Now letter C to the end, we're not just distributing a number, okay, or a constant. We're distributing a constant we are distributing a variable with a coefficient. So 5x times x, 5x times 4. So in red, I showed what I was doing and how I got my answer. 5x times x is 5x squared. Remember, you add your powers together. 5x times 4 is going to give you that 20x. Similarly for D, E, F, G, and H. Okay, they're all the same concept. Distribute to anything inside the parentheses. Those arrows are showing me visually that that's what I'm doing. If it helps you to write out what I did in red, please do that. I didn't do that for all of them because some of you are at the point where you don't need to do that. So if you don't need to, then don't. If you do, then please continue to do that. I do want to bring your attention, though, to letter G. It says 3 times 2x times 5x cubed minus 2x. You're like, Mr. Silver, that's a lot. Well, we're following our order of operations. We got to do this set first, right? It's all multiplication. Okay, there's nothing to simplify inside the parentheses, and it becomes all multiplication. So we follow whatever we see first in the statement, which would be 3 times 2x we see first in our statement. That becomes 6x. Now I'm going to distribute that 6x to everything inside the parentheses. So 6x times 5x cubed is 30x to the 4th. I added my powers together and multiplied my coefficients. And then 6x times negative 2x is negative 6x squared. Similarly, multiply your coefficients, add your powers. Okay, and every answer is in standard form. My largest degree is first, and then the next one after that, so on and so forth. So when you are finding the product of each, you are distributing. Okay, these arrows are there to help guide you to get the correct answer. Multiply your coefficients, add your powers if they have the same base.